Okay, this meeting's being recorded. Okay, great. Well, welcome to the 2022 South Region Technology Committee meeting. My co-host Brianna Wyatt's out in the field this week, so she's not able to join us. But she's from Texas A&M, and we've put together this agenda. We met previously on May 4th, and that'll be one of the things we'll review is some of the topics we discussed during that previous meeting. And I have some an outline or PowerPoint from Drew Kinney from the National Soil Survey Center in Lincoln, and I'll present some updates he's provided, and then we'll. I was hoping to get a few more people because a wide variety of folks, so we could talk about maybe some suggestions we could push up, whether they'll be ignored or not. But for web soil survey, as we'll see in Drew Kinney's outline, that is on the table to be updated shortly. And so I thought it'd be interesting if we could provide some perspectives on what we think could be done to improve it as they re-engineer that platform. And then we would have our open discussion on any other topics that anyone else wanted to bring up. And we can look at chair nominations for next time. So yeah, so last time, let me pull up the minutes from the running minutes from last time. Let's see here. It would be this document. Let me zoom in on that because that's awfully small. All right, so last time we spoke about, we had Adolfo Diaz. He did a demonstration on NRCS pedons, which is both a toolbox and also a data source that's available through ArcGIS Online, where one can, through various ways, query pedons for a geographical extent. And nice thing is that it's not just a site, point on the map, but it actually has all the relational tables tied together for for the myriad of tables. There's 80 plus tables that make up a pedon. It's quite even that part of NRCS is complex, and even the pedon part, just a little itty bitty pedon has quite a bit of complexity as far as table relations are concerned. So anyways, his tool that he developed takes a lot of that work. It just puts it all together. It's really nice, and also provides a link of a summarized report for each pedon, and that allows you to access the 700,000 plus pedons that are in the NRCS database. Keep in mind that these pedons haven't all been QA/QC'd to the fullest level, so there's varying quality levels, and that needs to be considered, both the pedons themselves and their location. So that was a very nice demonstration he gave, and I have the tool. I can quickly demonstrate it, but I wouldn't be able to go this because of time. It probably wouldn't be able to go in as depth as he did, but that's something. And when we get to the open discussion, I am willing to subject myself to a live demonstration of that. Related, is pedon entry. Elena Stevens presented work that she and others have done on creating a pedon entry form in Survey 123. And this is done as an alternative to using pedon PC. If anyone's familiar with pedon PC, that's a Microsoft Access application, or uses Microsoft Access to enter pedons, which is actually it still works, but on certain devices such as an Apple iPhone or an iPad, that may not be as convenient. So Survey 123 is designed more for handheld devices, and has some other advantages. But that she presented that, and then there's a methodology for importing those pedons into NRCS. And if you have access, if you use Teams, this link will be included that you can. There's all kinds of health documentation and examples there. So that was the second topic that we discussed on May the 4th. By the way, May the 4th was intentionally picked because technology is supposed to be a bunch of geeks, and May the 4th is May the 4th be with you day, so that's, yeah. Surgo on demand. This one is another great tool that Charles, or he goes by Chad Ferguson, developed. It's an alternative to soil development toolbox that's useful in ARC, can only be used in ARC Map. So our Surgo on demand is for use in ArcGIS Pro. It's a much leaner version than soil development toolbox, but it's a very powerful tool. It sends essentially what it does behind the scenes is it creates big, nasty, long SQL queries and sends them to the soil data access database, which allows you to query all kinds of information, soil properties at various depth ranges, soil interpretations. And if it has the option to do it to return a geography or actual soil polygon lines with the attached information requested, or for larger areas, because it has a limitation on how much data it can push back to you, you can just get the tabular information that you can then join to your own soil survey polygon or raster layer. And it runs very efficiently for a county. You may run a request. Hey, there's that promised cameo. Wayne walking by. So yeah, so that would do like a county level request in like a minute or two or less, actually. And then you can actually run a query on the whole entire United States within about 12, 14 minutes for a single property, more if you request multiple properties. So it's a very efficient tool, and it's a great asset to the general public who are using ArcGIS Pro, that is. So those are the three main things that we talked about. There was some open discussion points, and some of these points are actually covered quite well within the PowerPoint that Drew Kinney provided. So I'm going to go to that right now. I'm just going to leave it in this view. Oh, now let's stay in this view. There's not a lot of detail here. It's pretty brief. So these are some of the projects that the Soil Business branch of the National Soil Survey Center is working on. So number one, it's been in the works for a while. Steve Peasley, before he retired, worked on this. Adolfo Diaz is working on this, and I know others are too. It's the Surgo template database. Currently, the Surgo template database is it's in an Access data format or .mdb. It's limited to 2 gigabytes in size. It doesn't play well with ArcGIS Pro, and it doesn't include spatial data. And so they've been working on updating this. It's quite a complex process. It's been at least a couple of years, I believe, in the works. And so it was designed to work with Soil Data Viewer app, which requires an Esri license. That's another kind of demerit perhaps for it. So the new Surgo template won't be limited to 2 gigabytes. So you could put a whole entire state within it, besides the smaller states like Delaware and Rhode Island. It will include spatial data within the database, so that'll be pretty exciting. It will be license free, meaning I assume that means what he's getting at is open source. And it can be easily updated, which I'm not entirely sure how much work previous version took to update, but apparently it was quite a bit. So, this will be designed to work with a license-free version of Soil Data Viewer, which I think he has a slide on right here. So Soil Data Viewer, it's currently an extension in ArcGIS and ArcMap, I believe. It's currently pretty cumbersome to thematicize. I think what it means is to make a thematic map or from something more than the extent of one survey area, which would be essentially a county level. And the Soil Data Viewer platform is the new one that they're devising is going to be independent of platform, so will not require an Esri license to use. And you'll be able to do multiple surveys to create thematic maps, essentially extracting those properties, those interpretations that are within the Surgo database. So the idea here is to tie these two things together. So that's the soil data viewer. Related to that, well, not related, but similar to that, I should say, the soil data developer toolbox, which I referenced earlier. Surgo on Demand kind of acts as a stand-in for this. It's just a more elegant, efficient version of this, but it doesn't have near as many bells and whistles as the soil data development toolbox, which was developed to use in ArcMap. As folks are moving more and more to ArcGIS Pro, that people are wanting to have a version that's supported in that platform. And so it appears that that's become a priority, and sometime this fiscal year, early next fiscal year, so fiscal years in the federal government begin and end on October 1st, that will probably come out. I imagine that is Adolfo Diaz who is probably leading that effort, but I'm not exactly sure. But that would seem logical. So Surgo Web Feature Class. Research has begun to look at creating or further developing a Surgo Web Feature Class. So this would be the Web Feature Class. I believe what they're referring to here is being able to load Surgo via a server into your GIS platform. I could be a mistake on that, but so work is beginning. Hopefully sometime by this year that will be available. They're researching if they have the capability to use the soil data access and upgrade it to a functional web feature service. If it isn't feasible, we would need to request funding through the IRB, is what he's saying. So requests for Surgo Web Feature Service is coming from the NRCS Geospatial Advisory Committee, JAC, and private industries. So that's where the demand is coming for that. So that'll just be another way of delivering soils data besides downloading. So there's many ways you can get Surgo data, such as this toolbox. This is just providing another way of getting that, it appears. And of course, web soil survey. This is people like to talk about web soil surveying, both good and bad, but it actually is quite an impressive web page when you consider its age and pedigree. It's still quite useful, but it could be modernized. Obviously, there's some things that could be added, and so a redesign is underway. We look forward to that sometime next fiscal year, mid next fiscal year, which will be about right now next year. So maybe by the time we're meeting in where's the national NCSS meeting next year?
North Dakota. North Dakota.
North Dakota. All right.
Yay.
So maybe by the time we're in North Dakota, we can may be getting showcased. I don't know. We'll find out. Projects as ambitious as these there's often complications. So and that is it has a lot on that web page, and I imagine they're considering putting more into it. I don't know specifics. So Lab Data Mart is also being worked on, and it appears sometime this month it might be ready. I don't have any sneak peeks here. Soil Data Mart it will be released to coincide with Web Soil Survey. Again, that's tentatively next fiscal year about this time. And then Soil Data Access, they're looking at some update and upgrades scheduled to coincide again with Soil Data Mart and Web Soil Survey. So as you can see, they're trying to update 3 systems at once, or 3 delivery systems at once. And so I imagine there's a lot of complications in putting those together, but I'm excited that they're working on that and thinking holistically about that update. So that's great. And then interpretation in generators is, I think this is pretty interesting. I don't know the details, but I've seen some presentations on this, but I don't know if anyone else knows about this, but I think it relates to being able to, like, for example, slope. If you have your own slope surface, creating more continuous interpretations versus, like, a chloropleth or thematically representing slope by a map. I don't know. I'm not really. That's just an example, but I'm wondering if that's what's related to that. But I know there's been some ongoing research there, but looks like in the next year or two, we might be able to see some results from that. So that's the update that I have from Drew. I honestly don't have any more. I have no more specifics beyond what's here. So, but I'd be more than glad to relay questions directly to Drew and try to get answers if you have any. In fact, I can pause briefly if anyone has questions you would like to put out there. I like I say, I'm comfortable doing that.
Alex, is it possible to share those 3 links that you had in that first Word document? Or maybe just the Word document,
Yeah.
the first part of that Word document? And
Yeah.
anybody can use those, it's not just NRCS employees?
Yeah, so you're referring to
Yes, the survey
these
on
3.
demand, yeah.
No, these are absolutely. These are all available to the public. This not that there's anything that wouldn't be available to the public. I'm not really sure, because the way this particular tool works for updating data to our ArcGIS online database, I'm not really sure how this will interfere with cooperators or not. That I would have to ask Alina Stevens, but you can try this link, but I don't know what the results will be. And then, yeah, this is also definitely available to the public. These 2 both are which one you'll see when you get the links. I'll put them on right now. Let's copy.
And Dara, if you want like me to show you how to use those, me and George can definitely show you how to navigate those tools, get them downloaded and use them. We've used them before.
Awesome, thank you. I even have GitHub on my phone because we use it for our PSA grant, but
It's great. I
Yeah.
like that website.
I know, it's awesome.
Why does
This
it
is
Zoom give
wonderful.
me option to see the chat window? Oh, it's probably right here. It's on this window. All right, chat. Open the chat here. Let me put in. I have the pet-ons tool here. So there's NCS pet-ons, and then let me try to get this link to work. Entry. Ooh, that's a nice link, nice and long. Nothing elegant about that one. And then link. Sergo on demand, also referred to as SOD. There you go. So there's those 3. Of course, these minutes will be published once I add the minutes from this meeting to it. So this over here. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see here. Let's look at the agenda order that I had. Not that we have to stick strictly to it. Okay, so there are a few of us who've had, I can see a couple of folks. We have a couple of folks from academia. We have a couple of folks from the program side of the NRCS. So that's good. We have some different representation. What I thought we could do, if there's interest, and since I do believe we have the time to do it, is to talk. Let's look at the current web soil survey, and let's brainstorm some things that we would want to see in a new redesigned version, and we can put them forward as suggestions. They might even get listened to. But I thought that with this kind of a group, that would be something maybe we could might come up with some interesting ideas. So this is the current format of web soil survey. The general, there's all kinds of. I use it periodically. Honestly, don't use it near as much as probably some of you, because I'm usually dealing with the raw data itself. So I'm probably not the most expert in using this web page, but I do use it quite a bit. But generally speaking, you draw an area of interest through various ways, and you can draw it. And then you would get a summary of the soils data. You can also directly download soils data by survey area and whatnot. And then there's ways to access interpretations and soil properties and soil polygons. And you can see all these various options. So and I also brought up a couple other more modern applications that maybe we could use as examples. These applications, of course, have their various purposes. They're different than ours as far as delivering data, but I have a couple state portals that I feel that are really well designed for delivering GIS data. And then, of course, we have the USGS national map. So these are 3 platforms that are quite modern. They're kept up to date. And we can explore those too, if we like, to find examples of how those are presented. But we're obviously not going to get into too nitty-gritty details. And so if there's interest, we can do that. Otherwise, or we can do that later if there's more interest in, let me go back to the agenda here, to talk more openly about some other topics. And let me open up the notes from the previous meeting just to see some of the open-ended discussion that we had last time, because there's actually not a lot of overlap. In fact, I might be the only common denominator from the May 4th meeting. So there was some discussion on the soil data development toolbox. I already mentioned that's already getting updated. So that's kind of not really an issue that needs to be discussed further. We discussed about asking Drew Kinney to provide some updates on things. He did provide an update on these 2. And he didn't mention GNATSCO, but if you're not familiar with GNATSCO, I can Google the webpage and I can show it to you, talk to you about that. There was some discussion, but with the conference being canceled, we didn't really follow up on this, but looking at having some XRF technology there in the room and just kind of look at, and maybe asking Christine to talk a little bit about it. But since we're not there, that's not as, we can still talk about it, Christine, if you like, but it would have been more interesting if we actually like seeing it work, like a little sample, but
Yeah, well, we were going to have a demonstration of it.
oh, well, we see, look at us. We were synchronizing there.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many things that we were going to do and show, and show new technology. And we had a Bryant Sharonbrock coming down from UW Stevens Point. We were going to have a whole artisanal oil order discussion. We had a pit. We're going to have that. So I'm hoping that in Louisiana, I know that Mitchell is interested in taking some of it. I told him he can take our whole agenda and modify it if he wants to, but one of the people that can model this or that can show this, I mean, he has her right there. Anna Paltsiva, who's at University of Louisiana Lafayette. So this is something that we can do these, we can show this technology because it's becoming more prevalent. So Louisiana would be a good place to do it. I don't know if Bryant would go to I don't know. I mean, they do have these. I know Wade has some of these up in North Dakota, so that's a possibility too. So we could still put this, if this is something that we want to put forth at the business meeting as a recommendation, we can have that. Because I know Wade has about, oh geez, I don't know. I think he has a benchtop XRF. I feel like they've got portable ones too. So Wade Bott is a state soil scientist in North Dakota. I believe that's him. And he's
I know that. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, so they bought this technology and they're using it. So it would be a good point to bring up to say, hey, we should probably talk about this and show this.
Yeah. I know Texas has
6 of them.
Yeah, 6 of those little handheld ones, little ray guns. So yeah, no, I think it's fascinating. I think that it would have, like you say, you were already on it, and it would have dovetailed so well with the overarching theme of this conference. So I'll look forward to seeing them in action, either in North Dakota or in 2 years in Louisiana, because Maybe someone will take me out in the field. And
This is Mitchell, in Louisiana. Yeah, we'll definitely we'll take Christine's advice as far as kind of using her agenda, and we'll be in Anna's backyard. So, in my backyard, so to speak. So there'll definitely be an opportunity for that. I mean, it goes without saying, I guess.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, Mitchell, just
Yeah.
take my stuff.
Yeah.
We work so hard on it.
Yeah, I won't pass that up for sure. So.
And I think, Anna, she's in Greenville right now. She's still, she didn't cancel anything. So she's the only one from the conference. She's like, I really like it here. I'm like, yeah, it would have been really nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend some time with her tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that because I really don't know her. And so yeah, I feel bad because we had to moderate all these Zoom meetings. We couldn't spend any time with her, but I hope she's
know.
having a little fun.
Yeah, she emailed me. She's like, it's beautiful here. I'm like, I know.
and who is that you're talking about?
Anna Paltsiva,
She's there in South Carolina.
Yeah, she's there now. She was gonna be the keynote speaker, and she was gonna just share the stuff that she's been doing. She has a Delta Urban Soils Lab.
Okay.
And so she's got she's doing all this great work, because she does a lot of research on PXRF, the applications for soil survey and the applications for conservation planning. I mean, there's so many aspects that we could have talked about. So the uses in soil survey, the technology, but the differences in both as a screening tool and also to help with quantifying soil properties, like in the field, like clay content, carbonate content, things like that.
Yeah. I'll look forward to that. Okay, so I noted that down then, and it sounds like Mitchell's already taken a mental note or onto that, so that's great. Good. I know I'll come back to your Harper when we get back to the web soil survey discussion. We'll talk about your suggestion there. Okay, so that's XRF, and we were looking forward to that, but we'll look forward to it in the future. We talked about, I already mentioned I'm willing to do some demonstration of either of those tools mentioned above. And then we were going to have a couple of demonstration tablets with Survey 123, just, let people play around and do some data entry. And then, we wanted to talk about web soil survey, which we'll return to that now. Now I've kind of discussed all the previous minutes. So web soil survey, let's get that back open. And so Harper, you're saying the ability to zoom in with the mouse roller instead of, okay, so you're right. It only goes up and down when I scroll. It's a good point. You have to do click and drag. And then, okay. I'm almost positive, because almost any modern web's mapping will incorporate that, but I'll make sure that that's mentioned, because that'd be terrible if not. So
this is Harper, David Harper out of Virginia, so I'm not part of the Southeast officially, but I know the web soil survey without even looking, if I have to explain stuff for folks, because that's what I do as a state soil scientist outside of MLRA things. There are a lot of improvements that could happen, especially aerial photography. There's areas of the state that are using Bing photography, and they have clouds, and you can't see the ground, and that would be an improvement.
Sure would, huh? So cloud-free imagery. Okay. All right.
This is neither here nor there. Tammy knows about it. They are not going to update it, but since we're not in charge of that layer, but some of the road numbers are actually wrong.
I'm pretty sure this is a static layer. I was noting that too, and also they're overemphasized from a cartographic perspective. I'm like, why are roads the most salient feature in this map? It's like I don't know. That's just a style thing. You know, doesn't take away from the content. Yeah, that too. I'm almost positive will be resolved automatically with the update. So, but yeah, all this. But thinking like, what kind of information? Like, again, I have no idea what is in the works for Web Soul Survey and how it'll be reformatted. And I imagine there's some pretty creative, sharp minds working on it. I just don't know. But one thing that I've noted about these more modern pages is that they don't immediately go to a map view like this does, because sometimes you're not wanting to put in AOI, which they do that here. We have these tabs. You go to download soil data and you can bypass that. But more almost, except for the national map, most of these are thematically divided. Like, you know, do you want LiDAR data? Do you want aerial photography? Do you want LiDAR? Whatever it is, they're more thematic. Of course, we're delivering more of a specific suite of material, but we still have multiple types of data that we're delivering. We have GNASCO, we have Sergo, we have I'm not sure what else we would want to deliver on this, but we also, I like the here's Geo APIs. This is for more advanced users, but they have these applications or tools. Well, we have applications and tools too that we have available to the public, like the three we already mentioned. You know, we have the PET on entry forms, we have Sergo on demand, we have NCSS PET-ons, and there's actually, if you go to our GitHub page, there's dozens of others. And so that would be another thing that I think it'd be nice if we had kind of a launch page and that was available. I know that was a little more comprehensive than this, which is very focused on just soil survey. But not soil survey, sorry. Soil polygons, sorry. But that's just one thought I had. Great. So I got a couple. Any other thoughts? We got out there. Let me check. Yes, Dave. Good idea.
Hey, Alex. This is Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, just a thought. I recently had a meeting with some players here in Tennessee regarding the development of the USGS 3D HP layer, hydrography layer that they're working on with Z values tied to every node. That would obviously be a little overkill to have the Z values in this viewer, but the accuracy and consistency of that line work once it's developed would be great to have integrated into this, so that the streams actually fell where they belong.
So
on the imaging.
So I'm not quite sure. So you're
I'm just suggesting that once that, and it's not readily available right now, but once it is available, to make sure that we would integrate that higher resolution hydrography layer.
Oh, okay. So you're suggesting that we have, because currently all we have right now is these default base layers. I don't think there's any way to change the base layers. So you're saying we maybe have
go into the legend and turn them off and on.
Oh, here we are. You're right.
Well, no, that's for the units. But if you go and click on legend, there the side tab.
You know, this shows how often I never used this.
So between the quick navigation and the map, there's the legend tab.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, okay. We do have all kinds of things. Look at that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Wow.
But that layer
got richer.
The layer that I'm talking about isn't readily available right now, but as it is, it would sure be nice to have the most recent in here.
Oh, it's just available at a zoom scale. I see.
Yeah, but you're also talking a double-edged sword, that if the hydrography is extremely accurate, it would start to show the issues with our soil polygons and how they don't align. But but
Yeah.
you know, we already have that in this product. So just, I think for our users to have the best data available would be great.
Yeah, I imagine, I don't know how often these layers are updated, but
Never.
that wouldn't be a web soil survey itself as much as just updating the data on its back end, which I don't think would be very difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they do have quite a selection of feature layers you can add to your map. So, and it sounds like this, by looking at those slides that Drew presented or gave to us, it sounds like the new version of web soil survey will be more integrated with some of the other systems. It sounds like soil data access will be more integrated. Sounds like soil data viewer will be more integrated, and so that already sounds promising that there's going to be a greater level of integration of things. I just don't know how, and I'm very curious to see how. Okay. Soil rating. Okay. Oh, I see. So only soil survey. Okay. Anyways, what any other ideas? Aaron, going along that, are there other layers, other supportive layers that we feel need to be added? I think. Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
But no, I was just going to say that I think as we move forward with a modeled product, you know, and how transparent do we want to be with pushing the ancillary data or those covariants out there? But you know, I don't know that for this vector-based product that we you know, that there's a lot of other information that we would want to push out that wouldn't start to.
That new raster soil surveys will be delivered in this new format, but I'm not. I can't say that with knowledge. I just imagine they would be. And I don't know though whether they'll include the uncertainty layers that are behind. You know, meaning when you create a raster soil survey with a predictive spatial model or any model, you get a measure of uncertainty as to that prediction of that pixel soil class. I don't know if that will be presented. The covariates probably will not, just because there's hundreds of them, and that would be probably too cumbersome for a web page to display. But what about having administrative units related to programs like state zones and areas? I don't see any. That would be nice. Is there a way to summarize? Because right now, of course, they probably don't usually use web soil. I don't know, how often do you use web soil survey to get information, Aaron? Is it
For programs?
Yeah.
I would venture to guess that the leadership team here doesn't know how to use it.
That's what I was going to guess, because usually it's already delivered on a server by, you know, their StateGIS specialist, or they're going to use some other avenue. So maybe it's not an avenue in which the program side is going to be.
I don't think they're overly concerned with web soil survey.
Okay, well, that's good to know, and that makes sense.
Right, and this product is mainly for public facing, not so much just for NRCS. I get 8,000 brand new AOIs a month according to the metrics, and most of them are from engineers for the hydrologic soil groups for stormwater management problems.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's kind of what I understood too. This is more for the general public. We use it every now and then. We use it because there's some quick, easy access, you know, like in soil survey boundaries and things like that. But yeah.
One thing that could be helpful, and I kind of already, and I don't know if we could actually do this, but having, like, you can get these, they're layers that you can get. I'd have to put the link in the chat, but you can basically get those impervious surfaces. But I don't know if there's a way to get that layer and meaningful, because you'd have to like reclassify, you can reclassify it to based on the percentages of like less than 15% and, less than 15% impervious surfaces, you could map, you develop a survey based on that. I can drop it in the chat. I can try to find it. And I don't know if you could do that, but that would be something, if we could, it could prove useful. It would give context to soil series and map units that are mapped and or mapped in cities and yep, that one. So if you go to go up, I think that's what I was going to tell you. If you scroll up, there's a
They have it somewhere.
yeah, go under data maybe,
Yeah, I think it is under data.
and then you could go to land cover, and
Yeah, they have
so
land cover and impervious in surface.
yeah,
layers.
it's somewhere down in here. There you go.
There it is.
Now I know it gets updated, but web soil survey is refreshed every year. I mean, I don't know. It might be helpful if you have it on there and people in cities can start looking at it.
Yeah, no, it could be a useful layer to include as a background layer or something.
Yeah.
Here's a thought. What about a reference or a layer that would direct people for assistance with web soil survey, like a point of contact or administrative assistance with regards to, a state soil scientist, we get these inquiries, for some map unit, and pick a location, and what does this mean, or what does this interpretation mean?
So like a spatially explicit contact us almost.
Yeah. And that
that's a question that I get the most is, always leads people back. I actually created my own how-to guide, was like screenshots, step-by-step how to use it. And so I just give that to, I get a lot of, Myrtle Beach is getting developed like crazy. So I get a lot of realtors and other people asking, I get a lot of people every week, I need a perk test. Can you do it? No, but this is,
Yeah.
I direct them, and then I'll show them, tell them about web soil survey. So you're right. I don't think they know where to go.
Yeah, they have a link to the appropriate state office, I guess. So they do have that much in this context.
Yeah, but that's like, it may be better. Somebody may be better served, depending on what their question is, to the directly to the soil survey office, or to the area resource soil scientists, or you could go on down the list, the ecological site specialist, depending on what the question is. There may be somebody to better serve their question. Is there in the help section, are there videos in there? Because we get so many to the far right there.
Oh, yes.
We get so many questions related to, well, how do I even start with web soil survey? And people aren't digging into the help section, at all. And I'm wondering if there was literally a 30-second video that they could click on from this main page that would say, okay, welcome to web soil survey. Click here, click there, draw this, do that. Okay, now you're on your own. So there's so many people, they literally just, they freeze as soon as they see the website. And, my first comment to them is, well, if you're familiar with Google Earth or, Google Maps, or, one of those, it works very similar to that. So let's walk through the process. And but I think, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that's a great idea. Keep going.
Well, no, just if there was just a 30-second video that summarized exactly what they've said here: define your area, view, explore, check out.
I think it'd be great to have a couple links to YouTube or something that demonstrated efficient use of the web page. They have these. This is not bad, but it's still people. It'd be nice to have both. And I imagine the newly designed webpage will be a little, follow more in the vein of other modern portals that might be more intuitive to a more modern current user, but
Mhm.
I don't know.
Well, here's a question, and it came up because the agency's migrating to Drupal as their platform. So would Web Soul Survey be required to, are we required to take it to Drupal as the next platform for web design?
I don't even know what Drupal
And
is.
yeah, it's the latest that the agency is going to use for all of their websites. We're migrating our state websites over to it. Or I should say they are at headquarters. That's an initiative. But the other part of, and it's something that I've learned about through this migration that they're doing, is there's all kinds of like compliance, ADA compliance, and all of that associated with these websites that that I never even gave a lot of thought to. But regarding, you know, website readers and the size of the font, and there's all kinds of specifications there that we have to follow. So I'm sure whoever's leading that charge will, you know, make sure that those guidelines are followed. But
I'm curious to see if there's a way to, I just do Control Plus on this web page. That's just zooming. It's just zooming the page. Never mind. Is there a way to change the font size? I don't know. Just curious to see if USGS is as savvy as you mentioned with that or not.
And that's Tammy Cheever's the one that I've talked to that's up on all of this. So
yeah, Tammy is definitely. If we had Tammy here, we might have a real meeting. You know.
Is she? What'd she do? Dig a hole this week and hide?
Tammy, well, you know, she shows up in the national ones, not the regional ones.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We should have invited her.
Yeah, I don't know that she can spend 4 weeks out of her summer.
Yeah, I know.
The agency would fall apart.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, everything would crash if Tammy took a vacay on regional conferences, I'm pretty sure.
We would be on life support for sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm imagining they're looking at that, but I'll make that a note of ADA compliance. Yeah, because you have font size, you have maybe you have various color blindness. You have all sorts of things that need to be considered, especially when displaying symbolic data. Yeah, that's a good point.
I have a question. I was just thinking about this GitHub. How ubiquitous, how much is the RStudio software being used?
A lot
Is
by
it?
various folks.
I guess they do cover it in some of the trainings. Just didn't know.
Oh, as far as within the agency itself, yeah, we have 2 courses specifically that are
I took the first one, the
Yeah.
statistics, yeah.
Yeah, there's part 1 and part 2 for that. For those who aren't familiar, there's just she's referring to statistics for soil scientists that's offered to NRCS employees and our other federal cooperators and are kind of on the job training, if you will, but with instructors. Yeah, quite a few use it. I was just using it before this meeting started. I prefer Python, but that's just another, doesn't really matter. But so yeah, that you'll notice that the GitHub page, there's quite a few tools in both Python and R. Those are 2 most common languages used. Python because that's what integrates most with using the Esri suite of software are because a lot of the scientific community as a whole, at least in the natural resources realm, a lot of folks use R. Also in other disciplines too use R quite a bit, but that's probably the main reason why. So a lot of the digital soil mapping, which we're referring to digital soil mapping, we're talking about the development of soil maps using predictive modeling approaches, think like random forests or other machine learning algorithms. A lot of those projects are being done using R, but one could easily use Python or any other application to perform those two. But. All right. Well, it seems like unless someone has some other thoughts, it doesn't sound like there's too many other ideas coming up for how to improve web soil survey. Does anyone have any anyone have any other additional comments they want to make before we move on from that? Okay, sounds like I'll pass on those. I'll put those in the notes, but I'll also pass those on directly to Drew. I imagine a lot of those might hopefully been considered already, but some of those I think might be maybe they haven't. So there's nothing that says that we have to fill the full measure of our time, but we do have more time. And looking at what we've already discussed, is there anything here as far as these applications that anyone would like to see more of? Or I guess I should say specifically NCSS pet-ons or Sergo on demand. The former version was NASA's pet-ons, now it's called NCSS pet-ons. Excellent. All right. Well, in that case, are there any other topics in general anyone would like to bring up?
No, this one was less contentious.
Well, we can start a fight about something, I'm sure.
No, it's good. It's
or Mac versus PC, but that's kind of an old debate from the 90s. Okay, then typically when we do meet in person, that's usually all we take is 50 minutes. We just, like I say, we don't wax philosophical like the taxonomy committee does. So let me get this. So with that, then, is there anyone here who would like to do a better job in 2 years? Because it wouldn't be that hard. I'm sure you could. And chair this. We would again, is typical. We would have someone from the NRCS and then one of our other cooperators, either from academia or conceivably another agency, who could co-chair this together.
Now, is this these are for the regional ones and not the national? Right?
That's correct. Yeah.
No. Okay, I was just double checking.
Yeah, I don't quite know how the national one is selected, but yeah. So in Louisiana, is that going to be in Lafayette, Mitchell? I don't know if Mitchell's still on. Looks like Mitchell slipped off.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know if he's decided. It's usually in conjunction with like the land grant school. Richard might know. So is that, I don't know what school that is. Is that University of Louisiana in Lafayette?
LSU is the land grant.
Okay.
But as far as, I don't think there's been a decision made where would be best to host it.
Yeah, you have another year at least before you start thinking about it.
Yeah.
And whenever you guys do that, Charles, I mean, I'm more than happy to help out as much as possible.
Me too.
I'm sure you'll be taken up on that, both of you.
But I had a lot of fun doing this. It's really deflating that it turned into this, but at least we're, it's good to get the information out.
And the steering committee was amazing, Charles. Everybody was so helpful, especially
Yeah,
I've never done anything like this before. So everybody was just really helpful.
Yeah, we had a really good committee. Richard's on here. Everybody was just it was a lot of fun. It was, we had a good time. We worked well together. It was great.
Talk about a learning curve.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
Y'all
think
did.
all of us, the only one maybe had done it really before, was that Joe maybe? And
Yeah.
Edgar was really helpful too.
Y'all
Edgar
did
was
an
2 years
exceptional
ago.
job.
Thanks. I think we all were on the same page. We just really wanted to everybody was excited to be in person.
So I have one question, Christine. What was going to be, we usually have that last feast day together. What was going to be the South Carolina delicacy you're going to give us?
You
We all
mean
think
like,
about it virtually.
you mean like the food on site?
Well, usually there's like a dinner on Thursday night that's put on.
Oh, we were doing the lunch on Tuesday because
Okay.
it was a farm to table lunch at the farm that we were visiting.
Yeah, I can't even talk about that. That makes me so upset. That was a beautiful farm. I mean, that was going to be our soil health like champion. And I mean, it was awesome. Like the facilities is a huge barn with a kitchen, and it had garage doors all around it open and patios outside. I mean, it was great. Thursday was going to be a field trip to an urban farm, and that's where we're going to have the pit and the PXRF demonstration. And then Tuesday was the big, meal, I guess. But then all in town, Dara had put together something that Charles, just could do. She put a getting around town guide. All the restaurants, events that were going on in Greenville this week. So families is really family friendly. So that's something that, we're showing everybody that, Charles can definitely, we're worth doing, give people an idea if they want to make a vacation out of it for their families.
I was going to bring my wife along for the trip.
Well, whenever
those
you
notes-
decide to come, let me know. I'll be happy to show you around and tell you where my favorite places to eat. The places on there are my favorite places to eat. There's a lot of good food around here. We're starting to become known as a foodie hub, especially local foods.
That's awesome.
And if you do make it, there's also a wonderful candy shop downtown Greenville. We load up on nonpareils and whatever gummies I feel like eating.
Okay, I'm stopping the recording.
Fair enough. So